This is the insane balancing act of getting a 6'3" kid into a 5-foot car.
Is he really that? Is he really that big, Marcel?
Yeah, 6'3".
Wow.
Oh my God! I remember pushing that little guy around in a stroller.
Man,
Yeah.
that's how big I was
kidding.
when I used to race the Formula Fords. That is
Really
a tough fit. That is a tough fit.
How do you guys fold up into those?
Yeah, well, I mean, the bottom
seat.
line is the gas and brake pedal are like right there.
Yeah, and no seat whatsoever. You are on.
It's a what do you call those seats? Like a formed seat, like a custom seat that they pour.
Yeah, with no padding, like the small guys.
No, there's no padding.
Yeah,
there's definitely no padding. No padding.
And I still, to this day, drive every car, including the truck, up on the wheel, just like I was in those cars. I mean, I'm impressed.
That's funny. Is there anyone else here, or just the three of us?
No, there's everybody's here.
Oh yeah, there's like 20 people here.
Oh, I can't see the gallery because I'm on my cell, but and then that's our teammate from California. They're just doing a shakedown on the cars because the engines and everything were just rebuilt, and pretty much the whole car was just rebuilt. And then the first race of the season is next week. So,
you get out of them when you shake them down?
What's that?
How much do you get out of them when you shake them down?
What do you mean? How much do you get out of them?
You're going to shake them down. You better be confident.
No, there's no shakedown. That's no funny shakedown.
That's a different kind of shakedown. This is just, driving it to make sure shit don't fall off in the race next week. That's really it.
The automotive term I'm not familiar with.
Yeah. more of a gangster term for you, right?
That's just business.
That's a nice view you got today, Patrick.
I figured today we would make the Las Vegas Strip the background so you can see
that. Is pretty kick-ass. Love it.
Completely thrown, all abandoned to the wind.
Yeah. Have you gone out at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've gone out a couple of times. Was over in Palazzo the other night and had dinner with a video team.
Yeah.
Dee and I went over to MGM for that when they opened. Went to
I see traffic as opposed to much of your bicycle video.
Yeah, sadly, the cycling on the Strip is now no more because we'll have a lot more traffic on it. So I'm missing that. But, yeah, things are wide open. There's a very vast array of how procedures are being done. The wind seems to be extremely strict. They're making people wear masks in the casino. They issue you one when you come in. You go through thermal scanning and so on. Palazzo, there was thermal scanning. We came of we drove over and we're in the lower level garage. And by the time we came up and went through the thermal scans, we decided to do and Cosmopolitan right behind me. There's no fucking rules whatsoever. Complete lawlessness. They don't care. The full act. Nobody's wearing masks. It's fantastic. It really is just decided it's over.
Patrick, somebody was telling me last night that the governor called the president of the Cosmopolitan or MGM or whatever the heck he is and was like, you know what? Tighten it up, bud, or we're shutting it down.
I don't think that that's probably wrong.
Yeah.
He's pretty heavy-handed about it. I mean, we've had
he was the one that called
businesses get shut down.
He called Fremont Street and made him stop the live music.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, Fremont got reneged.
All right.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of enforcement going on, which is good.
I can't say I'm upset about that because I feel like the rest of us can get back to work faster if the people that aren't behaving can be brought in to behave.
Yeah.
So they really...
That was not meant as a political statement. It's just my scientific view.
They really told Fremont Street to shut down, Patrick?
Yeah, it was, they were trying to get away with doing some live, like, DJ acts and trying to put a band or two on, and they told them absolutely no live music. So they caught wind of it and called over my buddy over there and like, absolutely not.
Wow.
It was pretty quick. I mean, they made that press release, and it got reneged within, I
4
think,
hours.
about 17 hours.
No, it was 4 hours.
Was it 4?
Yeah.
It was pretty wild. At least somebody's taking it seriously.
Hey, Marcel, how can we mute you?
Yeah, really. Turn that shit down.
Muting it now.
So is the
Bye.
We'll shift the time and this whole damn call for Europe, but we won't do it for your race. That's great. Thanks.
So was the cut of live music because of the gathering crowds? Because
It
I've heard
was-
this perceived when choirs sing and that kind of thing, they project particulate further.
So
And-
part of the phase 2 announcement for Nevada, they specifically said no live entertainment.
I see.
And they were trying to kind of sneak it by and, oh, it's part of the street, part of the entertainment, and got, squashed.
Took a shot.
Yeah.
Oh my God, if you get some of those JBLs that Greg Jones is selling, it'll throw coronavirus like hundreds of feet. It's amazing. So who's got gigs?
I got some gigs, but just random
I got
stuff. The movie people are coming back, so.
Good.
I got an unpaid gig, just like busking a DJ at a live stream.
Yeah, we're
they can make money off of it. So, and it's a way to get creative for an evening. So why not?
We're getting a ton of those.
Did you say a busking DJ?
Yeah, I'm busking a DJ.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
And then some guy hit me up. He wants to do a music video, but he's doing it through donated gear, and he wants to replicate a photo that I have, which is a video wall. So I told him you're going to need to rent a video wall, and haven't heard from him since. So
Is your busking gig for the Middle Beast folks for this weekend's thing?
No. It's this event company in Astoria, and a way to make money is they just built this kind of live stream place, and they're hoping to get a role for it. They go live. I'll post it on Facebook when we go live, and we'll see what happens.
So they're gonna.
Apparently it's a Chevet rig, and they got a ton of stuff, so we'll see. Something to do.
Yes, certainly. We're doing a shoot tonight over at the Las Vegas Neon Museum with all the old signs and everything for a live stream that's going to happen this weekend. There's a group out of Saudi Arabia called Middle Beast that is putting on a 24-hour virtual event this weekend for World Music Day. So we've got DJ Aoki performing from over there. So we got a team going in to shoot that tonight. And then I was over at the PRG shop because the guys are over there prepping the gear. And my God, you thought the Las Vegas Strip was creepy with nobody on it. Walking into that shop was absolutely terrifying sounding from the silence of it. It was only our crew in there. You could hear a pin
Hey,
drop.
you want to hear
All the
something
gear
funny?
you could dream of, though, Patrick. All the gear you could dream of.
Yeah, there you go. You want to hear something funny is that yesterday I had Troy Eckerman on the podcast, and he's got gigs, and his son, I guess, has a relatively long-term gig with a church. So somebody's busy.
Yeah, there's little stuff going on out there, that's for sure. And certainly houses of worship being allowed to be cranking, they've at least got some stuff going on. And the bigger one.
One of my guys in Tennessee has Tony Robbins' tour happening. Apparently, that's actually happening and going through.
Really?
A live tour, live audience tour?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
That's cool.
On the other
And
side,
apparently, I
heard
hear there's going to be a
very-
big convention.
I heard some pretty distressing news about the Troubadour in LA that it's not sure if it's going to be able to reopen, and a lot of smaller music venues all over the country, like some really notorious ones like Threadgill's in Austin. They're really suffering from this, whereas a lot of the work that I'm hearing that you guys are doing, it seems to somehow be connected with Zooms and virtual tie-ins.
I mean,
I hope live. No, sorry, Matt.
No. I was just curious. Is Troubadour owned by Live Nation or AEG?
I don't believe so. I think it's Doug Weston's Troubadour. I mean, as far as I know, it's always been Doug Weston's Troubadour.
Yeah, I guarantee you what's gonna happen is they're not gonna close. Live Nation is just gonna buy them.
You know, it's the various levels of uncertainty. And I think as we navigate the future, obviously we had this conversation a couple of weeks ago about how you have to adapt to the current conditions. And now that people do have work, you see how that adaptation is taking place. I just hope that we don't forsake or lose certain things in the process.
Yeah, there was a Variety article a while back, I think I shared with you guys, that was basically, this is perfect for Live Nation and AEG and the death of independent promoters in the United States.
I remember that article, Matt, and it's kind of like the homogenization of, I mean, you know, someone who lived 40 some years in New York City, I saw all of the little mom and pop businesses in the butcher shop and this store and that store all get sucked into the big box stores, and you know, that's just more of that same homogenization.
I mean, that's today in New York, we have restaurants closing on a daily basis. There's like Untapped New York, they have a running list of restaurants and bars that have been open for 100 years and they're closing.
Yeah, it's some of that is just too distressing for me to actually investigate, because it just breaks my heart. And I don't know about everybody else, but a lot of me feels like I'm in a hurry up and wait position. I'm waiting to when I feel comfortable traveling. I'm waiting for when I feel comfortable to, you know, do X, Y, and Z. I just feel like I'm in a hurry up and wait. Do you guys feel similarly?
I just gave up on airplanes once I heard they're not doing drinks anymore. So.
Yeah, that's rough.
Like
Crazy rough.
Kill the virus, drinking. And you can't
I have to fly next week, and I'm like, ew. You know, it's kind of stressful. First time on an airplane and no alcohol.
Edibles, baby, edibles.
Edibles, yeah. Definitely. I have a friend who turned me on to about a quart of homemade 190 proof moonshine a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
and
that's
so,
what
like,
I need.
I could sanitize myself and get cracky on at the same time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can't you just bring your own, like a little bottle?
Yeah, can you BYOB?
Well, how do you get that through security? 3 ounces.
Edibles. Edibles.
Liquor stores.
Edibles.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Why can't you bring a bunch of those little bottles?
Right.
Because you can't bring liquids in from the outside. How are you going to get?
No, but they're less than 5
Yeah.
ounces or 3 ounces or whatever.
Isn't that what duty free is for?
It is technically against federal law.
It's against FAA regulation.
Bring alcohol and consume it on a plane. You can bring it on if it is under the 3 ounce minimum, but you may not consume it under FAA law.
Yeah, it's an FAA regulation.
If they're not going to serve it, that's going to have to change.
This is why I highly suggest some cannabis tincture and some Froggies, and you put that in a small bottle, and it's going to smell awful, but it'll get you through the flight.
Yeah, take a chill pill. You'll be all right. If you get on the plane, take a chill pill. You guys are good.
Where's Strickland? We need one of those Write Your Congressman campaigns to change.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Well, come on, Ben, you do it. You've got time.
Yeah, right.
Ben, I haven't talked to you in like 2 weeks. I feel like I'm going through withdrawal here.
All right. What track are you guys at?
Palm Beach International Raceway.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. It is. So what else is going on, people?
All right, good
Quiet
time.
bunch today.
Quiet. Yeah.
I've been working on a project for Sirius XM, so I've been busy in my sound world and my old disco world, editing and doing interviews and splicing forgotten music that's rare and all that crap. So stay tuned, and I'll let you know when it's finally going to be broadcast.
Marcia, is there any word about them extending your exhibit at the Brooklyn Museum?
Actually, they did. I got an email from the museum about a month ago. They've extended it through the 8th of November. No word on when it's reopening, though.
Right.
Marcia, please let us know because I'd love to go see it.
I gotta go.
I absolutely will. I absolutely will, Matt. In fact, I'd love to take the both of you guys with me. I've got to get up to it as well.
Yeah,
I was
let us
there
know.
for
I'd
a
love to do that.
preview.
That'd be great.
I was there
Yeah,
for a
let us know.
preview with a party, and I didn't even get a chance to see the whole damn thing. And so I know that they'll, let me and a group of guests go in and do it. So I would love to offer that out to anyone in the city when I get back.
I'm sure Herrick will,
We're half a mile away.
I'm sure Herrick will open his bar to you.
Of course. And what a beautiful museum it is, really. Just
Hey,
gorgeous.
has anybody seen Caserta's treehouse?
Yes, I saw it online. How friggin'
Ah,
amazing
Jesus.
is that?
It's awesome. And
This thing's incredible.
He
Make an Airbnb out of it.
He YouTubed everything.
That's what I thought, John.
Should make money out of it. Make an Airbnb.
That's what I
Wins
thought.
Dad of the Pandemic Award, that's for sure.
Yeah,
That thing is
He
incredible.
didn't act quick. Sooner was going to have that shit up our Airbnb listings. But it's gorgeous. He put in, I mean, the thing's got serious pylons and foundation to it. It's pretty significant. And he put
Well, then he puts in that like killer walkway that goes up to the ladder and, lighting, proper electric. I mean, it's just kick-ass.
It's
the little
fantastic.
balcony that goes around it. I mean,
he's
I
got
want
a
to live
little
there.
terrace going on, a balcony terrace.
Killer.
Yeah.
That is
The problem
so
is,
good.
you guys, if you know Craig, he's going to go now put air conditioning because it's about to get really hot. He's going to drop about 20 grand on that damn treehouse.
I think he's up to
Yeah.
something here. He's up to something. Something's going on.
I've been on eBay collecting all of these hustlers from 1970s that are going to extend.
I think it's going to be an Airbnb for sure. I'm with you, John.
Hey,
Can't pay
Marcel,
taxes on a tree for sure.
Marcel, you brought up a great idea that we should bid on branding treehouse, right? Call it
Absolutely.
House or Roby or whatever, whoever's going to be the highest bidder. I say we do it on this call.
Although soon we're going to be sick of his treehouse, so nobody's going to look at it anymore. I think all the traffic you were going to get is already gone.
Hey, can we talk about masks? I mean, on a serious conversation, because I know some of you, Mr. Koenig, you sort of opened my eyes. We are wearing masks, but we also have done some activities where we didn't, early morning bike rides, and you spawned conversation in my house, and I'd just like to talk about it and just see because I think
Greg, why don't we just talk about, Jesus or, who we should vote for president or, that's a pretty divisive topic, isn't it?
Why should masks, but why should masks?
Why is that divisive?
Why should
it just is?
Now, let him talk.
Why should masks be decisive? It's not religion, it's not politics, it's science. And the science that's coming out based on research after Rob.
This is exactly why we shouldn't talk about it, though. So, because you're going to have 50% of people who are for and 50% of people who are against. And we've avoided that for 13 weeks. So my suggestion would be that we probably don't go down that rabbit hole today either.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to censor anything, but, you're going to have 50% of the people on this call are going to...
You just censored it. Don't worry.
No,
Who here thinks that a 1,000-watt lamp is brighter than a 500-watt lamp? Should we just talk about science and just,
is that really true? Are there a lot of people on this who don't want to wear masks?
Wear the mask. Wear the
It
mask.
has nothing to do with the science, though. Science is science.
Hey, Dearson, thank you. The quality of your mask is excellent. I appreciate them. They're both very nice.
Thank you for the plug, Jamie.
I will say that we are
quality shit. We're selling it.
I will say that in New York, we went from first to last. So, and we're opening up like everyone else, but our infection rate is going down, 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 and we all wear masks, and we don't really bitch about it.
Well, the state of Florida is the exact opposite.
In Texas, it's the same thing in
Same with
Texas.
the Midwest.
Oh boy. We
and when I
avoided
go-
this whole
listen.
entire conversation for 13 weeks.
Well,
Are we
listen,
really
look-
going to go here?
Didn't this just start with who has gigs? Marcel, isn't that what the question was? Who has gigs?
No, but I mean, now we're talking about what
Yeah.
states and why and all of these things. And these are divisive topics. I love all of you guys, whether I agree with you or not. So, I mean, I'll mute
I'm
and shut
just
up.
gonna ask the question over how did wearing a fucking mask in the middle of a pandemic become divisive? I just think that is the
I
most
don't know, but it
mind-boggling thing
is.
to me ever.
Yeah, but it is. You know, it is. I didn't just invent that. It is divisive.
I'm not saying no, Marcel. I'm not directing that at you. It just boggles my
Yeah.
mind that they come out and they go,
I
"Please wear a
couldn't agree.
mask."
I agree exactly with Rob. How is it even an issue? There is a scientific reason, and I get some people don't want to. I mean, look, I ride my bike in the morning for exercise, and I don't wear a mask, but I see other people.
Shame on you.
That are walking around covered up in coats and glasses and hoods and masks, and they're 20 feet away from a bird, much less a person. So, you know, to each his own. But the fact is, scientifically, a barrier will prevent you from spreading spit and prevent somebody else from spreading spit on you.
I think you just spit all over yourself saying that, Marcia.
But it's
Damn,
me,
you gotta
and
put
I
a
don't
mask on.
care. And I don't live with
You
anyone,
just said
so it
spreading
doesn't affect
spit
anyone.
and spreading fit and spitting all over.
And you live in a predominantly Muslim community, so it's a little 50-50 there.
Yeah, but I mean, out of respect to what is going on, I will protect myself when I go out. When I go into places where it says a mask is required, I will. And
Right.
if I don't
Okay, but
feel that
Marcia-
I need it, I won't.
Marcia, you just started that whole sentence with the exact reason that
that's
I
the
don't want to go
problem
down
right
this
there.
because you said to each his own, but you're an idiot if you don't wear a mask. Well, you just took away to each his own, didn't you?
Well, not when there's a rule. Not when there's a rule. Not when
There
I go
isn't
to
a rule.
store.
There isn't a rule. There's a suggestion. There's not a
No,
rule.
if I go to Publix, it says it will
Right.
not allow me to enter unless I have a mask on.
Yeah.
I'm not against any of you.
It also will not allow me to enter if I am buck fucking naked. So what's the difference? If the rule of the
Well,
store
if you need me
is
to
you have to
explain
wear
that,
pants, you wear pants.
if you need me to explain the difference, I will. However,
There's
I think
probably a
it's
couple
rather
bodegas
obvious.
that'll let you
If you
in.
go
though,
in
if
with
you're
a
naked.
mask and are naked, that could be interesting.
Well, it would be. You're right.
I mean,
That would be an
technically you're
interesting
not
way to
naked.
prove
There's
the
only
point,
one way
Chris.
we're going to solve this.
Those
Case
are said.
studies. Let's go.
Chris, don't
Yeah.
put it past me.
I mean,
Hey, Marcel, I got another call. I just dropped that grenade. I gotta go. No,
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Greg.
No, I mean, if I can just say something quickly, because I know that there's a lot of people rolling their eyes at me right now. I don't care. Like, I don't care if you wear a mask or don't wear a mask. I think it's a relative personal choice. Now, don't attack me and say that you're going to give me the disease, because I've been tested. I don't have the disease. So if I'm not wearing a mask and God forbid I sneeze on you, which I've never done in my life anyways, but, you know, I mean, I don't think this is something that makes you an asshole on either side. Now, I did mention on one of these calls that I saw an asshole one day who was a woman driving 55 miles an hour, wearing a mask in her car by herself and steering with her knees while she was texting with both hands. So,
That's
you know,
not
that's
a selection.
And why didn't you-
That's gonna sort itself out.
Right. But also, why didn't you like that? Did you think she was endangering you?
She should
What's
be
that?
allowed to drive with her knees. There's no law that you have to drive with your hands.
Oh my God.
But it's all about best practices, just like wearing a mask.
Well, you know, not for nothing, but if I choose not to be around people that do not believe in protecting themselves
your
or
choice.
others around them, then that's my choice. So
That's-
Until you're an employee of a company, and you have
That's
to do
exactly
it.
right. That's exactly right. CT.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
NEP
Greg.
CT and NEP under HR coming back to work for some of our guys that were furloughed. We have a number of them coming back over the last few weeks. Actually, a good 50% of them. They have to go through the HR training of once you're in the building, you will have a mask on at this point. You will wash your hands, you'll keep your social distancing, and it becomes I don't want to say it's a right to work, but it is a prerequisite of you coming back to
Can I ask you guys one thing? Is this the best use of our time right now? Because I feel like I'm watching either Fox News or CNBC. You know, you got.
Well, listen, there is, of course, everybody's opinion and division one way or the other. The fact of the matter is, there are requirements that have been set by companies, by businesses, and those rules are to be adhered to.
Just like any other rule. No, I mean, if there's a rule, don't be an asshole. You know, like I'm not going to walk into Publix without a mask just to try and be a hero. That's stupid. You know, but again, it's common sense, right?
Others require you that you don't bring something in. So, for instance, for concealed carry weapon permit holders like myself, there are plenty of businesses throughout the Las Vegas area that post a sign stating no weapons allowed. So you adhere to that. That's your public duty to do that. They're also posting signs.
I love how you always manage to be able to bring that subject up.
Yeah, because everything comes back to guns. It's nice and easy.
About 5 more seconds, he's going to lean over and grab one.
Yeah. So what I was saying was, you're going to want to make sure you.
Sorry, grab two. Grab two.
Jesus Christ, Patrick! What the hell?
That's a water gun,
planning
right?
on getting
You
invaded?
use your knees, you could grab 2 more.
Am I planning on getting invaded? Have you seen the news this week, Marcel?
Man, I want to be with Patrick when this shit
Look
hits
at
the
this.
fan.
Look, I finally found some common sense here.
There we go.
Look at that. Look at that. What do you got to say for yourself? Where's your mask,
I was
son?
going to say, damn, Matt, what does that?
Where's your mask?
Where's your mask, son?
Yeah.
These guys don't look really happy with me. I'm only like about 4 feet away from them. They're pretty cool.
Tonight on site, when we go in to work, all of our crew, it is mandated we need to have masks on as we're working. There's no argument about it. There's no decisiveness about it. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. If we're going to do it, this is what's been requested of us. So we're just doing it. Big deal. And if you
honestly, I know people who would, flip the bird and throw a fit and, make this is against my human rights. And that's stupid too. Just like it is shaming someone for not wearing a mask. Because, honestly, that has happened to me when I'm out for a walk in my beautiful neighborhood. I've had somebody purposely walk like 20 feet away from me because the husband and wife were wearing a mask and I wasn't. Come on. So, I don't know.
Scared of you, Marcel?
Well, so an interesting question might be, does anybody either doing a gig or responsible for a company have a situation where they're not requiring masks, social distancing, or hygiene? I mean, it seems to me that OSHA, the CDC, whichever scientific authority you want to pick, whatever Steve's is called over there, they're telling us to do this, and most employers, whatever type of employers they are all choosing to adhere to that. Has anybody seen a situation where it's okay not to?
Yes. Lots of them. I mean,
I've only seen it on the cut.
Really?
Like what types of places, Marcel?
Sorry. Yeah, I mean, everything from restaurants to retail stores to a warehouse building that I was in the other day where I was wearing a mask and they weren't. There's a lot of people that are wearing masks.
That's Florida.
Right.
That's Florida.
I'm at a racetrack. Well, I'm in Florida. What do you want me to answer for New York?
It's just interesting, right? Because OSHA has said, OSHA, federal agency, has said this is best practice. So it's just interesting that state by state they're making the choice.
Yeah, in California, it's not even like that. It's not even close to that. They're looking at shutting down counties once again because of it.
Right. And your numbers are going up every day, Marcel, in your state. They're like skyrocketing every day.
Record number yesterday or the day before, over 2,700 cases just yesterday.
Same here in Nevada. We had our highest cases reported today.
Yeah.
Why
And
is that?
And
Why is that?
that's with the mandating of all employees must wear masks, but patrons don't necessarily have to wear masks. So when you go into these casinos, you're not required to wear a mask. It's a suggestion, but you're not required, whereas the employees are in fact.
But the employees have to wear a mask?
Yep.
Yeah, that's typical of restaurants and bars and bowling
Have to wear a
alleys.
mask. It's interesting that it's interesting that they are able to put their employees, the company is able to put their employees in that situation, right?
Well, the company has.
But hang on.
No, the governor has mandated that as the rule. If you are going to be a business that opens,
you have to do it. Yep, you have to.
But stupid question, because I just don't. It feels like so long since I've traveled. Are you allowed to smoke in a Las Vegas casino?
Yeah,
of course.
All right, so same thing. Yeah. If you want to work there, you have to be willing to subject yourself to potentially harmful behavior by the patrons.
Yeah. And it
The
was
culinary union's been speaking out
You don't have
too.
to come to work, just like you don't have to go into the store.
Here in California, they're starting to shut down some of the counties because it was a mandate that if your ICU visits or cases went up 10% over what you had started as a standard for the last 2 months, well, now you're going to be set back in steps, as the governor would say. So here in Ventura, we had very, very little people infected. So now we've already hit that 10% just from
only little people, Chris, not tall guys.
Yeah, no, it was only little people. They're closer to the virus, so
only very little people.
So
Wow.
So now they're looking at shutting us down now again.
Well, it's really funny. Cuomo just posted 10 weeks ago, 800 New Yorkers died from COVID. And then today, only 17 died.
Yeah. So does that make that 10%? See, the 10%, I don't know how that 10% works out. We've only had 100 people that died from it. So in the last week, we had 5 people die from it. All of a sudden, we're over the 10%. So now we're going to get locked down again.
Well, it's all from wearing masks. That's how it came down here in New York City. So, and we're going into phase 2.
But again, Jesus, this is such a effed up rabbit hole because do you have proof of that, Matt?
Yeah, the numbers. Science.
The numbers and science don't reflect exactly who's wearing a mask or not. I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Supposedly our numbers are much higher in Florida now, and that could be just down to testing. It could be a number of things, but let's assume it's because of masks. I have so many friends who have been finding every open bar and every open restaurant and every open beach. They've never worn a mask. They're rebels basically, and they get tested every 2 or 3 weeks, and they have never gotten it. So I know that maybe that's just a really rare case and it's a fluke or whatever, but okay, so masks help. I get it. I completely get it. But I don't think we can make such a broad statement as New York's numbers are down because they wore masks. They also had, massive gatherings called protests or riots or whatever they were.
That's only 2 weeks ago. We haven't seen numbers for those yet. So
right.
You gotta wait 2 or 3 weeks, and you actually have to wait longer because it's the youngsters who are protesting and bringing it home to the older family members. So that's it's probably longer than 2 weeks before we see how the protest.
But are we sure this science is this science accurate enough? Because now we're assuming that it's going to be 5 weeks because somebody's coming home from a protest, giving it to granddad, and then granddad's giving it to somebody else, and we got to add all those weeks together, and now it's in exactly 7 weeks we're going to have evidence that a mask works.
No, like Strickland said around June 30th. So
no, for sure. That's a big date. I completely agree with that. I don't know.
Does any of that math add up to uncanceling Coachella?
I just hate that we're a bunch of lighting guys and production guys and audio guys and girls, and we're talking about science and
You know what? You know what? Really quick, we're not talking about science. We're talking about
Yeah.
being kind to one another. That's what we're talking
Oh,
about.
100%. I agree with
There's
that.
a little, you know what? There's a little bit of this that just says, if you just wear your mask, there's a little bit of this that maybe 10% less people will get this thing, and maybe we'll open up a little bit sooner. So every once in a while,
agree with
do
that,
this.
Rob.
It's
Thank
not
you
a white
for
flag.
thank you, Rob.
It's not a
I
political
completely agree with
stance.
that, Rob.
And you know what? In 12 months, if the mask didn't work at all, then just like I said in my post, everyone come tell me you're a fucking idiot, and I told you so. The mask wouldn't work. And you know what?
That's
It
never
does
gonna happen.
absolutely nothing to my life to wear the mask every day.
Yeah.
Nothing. So the fact that we're all getting so wound up about this, just like Emily just said it in the comments. Okay, you've been raw dogging women for the past 20 fucking years without a condom. Congratulations, you haven't caught the AIDS virus yet. And
Emily said that?
Oh,
Damn, Emily.
She's absolutely right. You're playing
She
Russian
said it a little
roulette.
more eloquently.
And there's been a little bit
I
of
would like to point out that was paraphrasing.
in my neighborhood, there's a little bit of common courtesy when I'm walking down the street and we're coming towards each other, even if we are wearing masks, someone steps out to the street and we all just know it. Whoever goes first, we step around, go around the cars that are parked on this side, we stay 6 feet away from each other, and then we come back in and we merge. It's not that big of a deal. It's not putting me out. Just like wearing my mask outside is not putting me out. It shouldn't be putting anybody out unless you're claustrophobic.
You're right, Rob. I think it's a courtesy thing as well.
Sorry. But just listening to this, it's blowing my mind that it's become like a divisive political issue to wear a fucking mask while we're going out in a pandemic. It blows my mind.
Right.
Makes no sense.
Am I correct in that the president recently was quoted as saying that COVID-19 would get a vaccine just like AIDS had a vaccine? There's never been a vaccine for AIDS. It doesn't exist.
Newsflash, he's an idiot.
Well, that's not a newsflash. I'm just wondering if I actually was told that and it was correct or it was ridiculous.
It is not correct.
Guys, this is...
All right, now I think it's time for censorship.
Yeah, this has gone so far. Come on, really. I mean, we've been so good for 12 weeks, and personally, I've gotten a ton of value out of this. I think most people have.
This is
to
what
me
happens
isn't
when
giving
you take
anybody
a field
value.
trip. You take
No,
a
this
field
is just
trip
a
and we
question asking to clarify something. That's
No,
all. I
but
think
these
it's an
are
honest
these
question.
questions are no, but these questions are calling one side an idiot or the other side overprotective or this side that or this is what I tried to say in the beginning when we went down this rabbit hole. It is a divisive topic, whether we like it or not. And now we're just throwing in every other divisive topic too. So
germane to our meetings.
No, but hang on one sec. I'm just saying for myself, like this isn't my call anymore. This is all of you guys because we've been doing this for 12 weeks and this ain't mine. I happen to go through the work of setting it up on Zoom and stuff. But if this is what you guys want to talk about, I'm just going to mute my headphones, shut them off, mute my microphone, leave the call going. But I just don't get any value from this.
Well, I have two things I'd like to know. Firstly, where is everybody at with their SBA and PPP and all of that? Are people, anybody still hanging? And secondly, to Marcel directly, are you drinking a White Claw?
No, Corona Premier.
Oh my God, it's just as bad.
It's a what? It's a what?
Shut up.
Oh. You're scared of wearing a mask, but you're scared of drinking a beer,
I didn't say I'm
too.
scared of wearing a mask. I didn't say that at all. Hang on a second. You want me to go show you my mask? I'll go show you my mask. It's in my car. I'm not afraid of wearing a mask. Of course it is.
No, but you're afraid of drinking a beer.
That's the best place to wear one is in your car.
Where are you guys at with PPP, and all of that? Is anybody still struggling with that? Can we help anybody with that?
I've been helping everyone that I can with it. I was successful on both ends, so that's positive. As far as I know, everybody I know, like especially with the reopening, that I found out from Mr. Makaminsky just 2 days, was it yesterday, that there's the reapplication process. And I will say this, if anybody is struggling, I did call the SBA yesterday, and I was on the phone with a human in 2 minutes.
Wow.
I was blown away. I called and I got through just to ask just a couple questions really quick. But I kind of was testing the waters to see if anybody is struggling, can they even get through? Because like with unemployment, with the PPP, with everything that's calming down, although the numbers are still increasing, the amount of requests are reducing. So you actually
Yeah.
can't get through at least to the SBA right now and talk to somebody. So that's positive.
Well, and I think it was Patrick or somebody who brought it up last week that the PPP still has like something like $170 billion left in it. And a lot of the like PayPals of the world are making it very easy to get that money now and very fast. Like I heard from somebody a couple days ago who got money in 72 hours.
Yeah,
So
the SBA is really fast. I actually got my $1,000 grant also.
Oh, good.
But it came afterwards. So what they're doing is they're taking, everything's linked by your social, your tax ID. So if you've applied like 3 times, it all funnels into the same file under that number. So like even friends that filed during the agriculture part, they are getting calls now from the SBA, and that stuff's getting taken care of.
So I got a call a little over a week ago from Cosmo, and he was just super frustrated. He's like, hey, can you help me? You know, I got this thing and this happened and this didn't happen. And, you know, can you just help me a little bit? And what I did was I just put him on with our accounting woman and my COO who's on this call right now. And they were able to talk him through a bunch of stuff. And he actually got funded within a few days. And I'm not saying we did that, but sometimes, you know, Rob or whoever just brought it up, actually it was Patrick, sometimes it's just a matter of reaching out and saying, hey, who can help with this? And I'm raising my hand right now, like if there's anything I can do with my, you know, little girly beer that Patrick's busting me on, if there's anything I can do to help, I'm certainly happy to. And I would like to make one final statement on that last shit show that we just went through.
No, why? It's over.
Shut up, Ben. No, it's different. No, if you'd shut up for a second and just let me speak. I actually placed an order with So What the other day for like, I don't know, $90 or $100 or something, because I'm going on planes and I'm going to places where I'm required to wear a mask. And I have these KN95 things and they hurt me and I don't like wearing them. So, you know, I got cloth masks so I'm comfortable wearing them. That's all. So
they're very
I just want to say I'm not a dickhead who just is refusing to wear masks. I'm not saying that. I just didn't want to get into an argument about it. That's all.
No one said you were refusing to wear a mask.
It wasn't a personal attack.
Yeah.
All right, hit the undo button.
We're just saying you were a dickhead.
So for those who didn't notice, also last night they finally posted the forgiveness application for the PPP.
Yep.
Based on the whatever the revision of the rules was called that I can't, Flexibility Act. So that went up literally last night. So everybody should be able to look at that now.
Have you been forgiven, Ben?
We haven't applied yet because we were waiting to see what they passed the law, but they didn't put the application up for 2 weeks. So now we see the application, we'll file for that. And you know, we'll see what happens. There seems to be sort of a get out of jail free card checkbox where you can say, you know, our business, you know, our industry's still shut down. We believe our loan should be 100% forgiven.
Right.
We'll see. You know, the lawyers have to have a go at that and decide what it really means. But to my incredibly layperson eye, it looks like it should work for everybody here.
Yeah, and we've seen it also with CT with some of our independent contractors. We spent the last 3 or 4 weeks making sure they get their PPPs and all the benefits they could as well. And we're seeing the same thing as now through our HRs actually helping them out on those sides of the avenues. And it looks positive for everybody. We hope. That's what we're hearing anyway.
So I do actually have a question. EIDL, PPP, you can apply for both, but I hear the forgiveness is a little confusing. Like,
well, EIDL, you don't get forgiven. It's just a very long-term, very low interest loan.
No.
Yeah, just a bridge loan. A bridge loan is what it is.
No, that's not true either, Chris.
No?
That's not true either. So the EIDL, there was a bridge loan, which was up to $10,000, I believe. And then there was the EIDL, you know, whatever it's called, disaster loan. And that, I believe, could be up to $2 million or $5 million.
For how long?
30
They
years.
ended up capping it at 150,000.
Wow.
No, they didn't. 150? No, because I got more than that.
I got the max. They changed it from 2 million, and about 3 weeks ago they capped it at 150,000.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Wow. So
Yeah, that's quite a shock.
So, you know, there's some really good things about that EIDL deal, though, because first of all, it is a 30-year, it's like a mortgage. But secondly, I believe, if I remember correctly, the first year is free, and you don't have to make a payment for the first year either.
Correct.
So,
January till January.
you know, it gives you time and
It's actually,
you know,
it's actually the first payment that you have to make is 12 months post when this becomes a not a national disaster anymore. So if this is declared on December 1st that this is no longer a national disaster, that's when your clock starts ticking to your first payment 12 months later.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. That's good information.
Now I could be wrong, but I've read it 2 or 3 different ways that way. So
yeah,
I believe you're
well,
correct.
I mean, basically, it's a very, like, even, you know, I would say for companies that don't even need the money, you know, this is a loan. This isn't taking a government grant from other people who need it, like a PPP loan or a PPP, whatever it's called, recovery thing. But, you know, if you need this to help build your business or whatever, it's very inexpensive money that is relatively easy to get and very long payback terms. So, you know, it's a great business development loan. So,
And that's very low interest, I would imagine, like a
It
student
is,
loan
yeah.
type of thing.
it is
3.75.
3.75 and 2.75, depending on the kind of business that you run. And it's over 30 years. But somebody just said use it for business development. You cannot use it for business development.
Says who?
Right. They're actually very strict about the rules that you can use it to continue to run your business, to use it for your payroll taxes if necessary, to use it for payroll, to use it for your everyday expenses, storage, computing, anything like that. But you cannot go out and invest that money. You can't go out and buy property with it. You can't go out and
Rob,
dump
is that
150
true of
grand
the?
into 150 grand into Robinhood or anything like that.
Is that true of the EIDL and or I know it's true of the PPP.
I don't believe on the EIDL. I don't think that is true, Rob.
I just, it's Rob Gibson in Chicago. I just read through the guidelines again today for EIDL to refresh myself, and there are limitations as to so you can't finance new equipment, you can't pay down principal of.
Like I can't go out and buy a Grand MA console with that money.
There is a third program called the Main Street Lending Program that is specifically geared towards business development and things like that. I don't have any. I don't have any of the details at the front of my brain right now. But it's another.
What's the name of it then?
MSLP, Main Street Lending Program.
Okay.
And it's the same kind of thing. It's an SBA, you know, it's facilitated through your lender, but it's an SBA 7A or whatever that thing is called, where it doesn't have the same disaster recovery restrictions. And there's a lot of, you know, there's a couple $100 million dedicated to it.
Yeah, there's 75 billion in the fund
allocated to it, I should say.
There's 75 billion in that fund right now, I believe, and the loans are anywhere from 250,000 to, I believe, 50 million. It's a wide range depending on what type of business you have.
And after 25,000, you have to put up collateral. But under 25,000, if you get it, there's no collateral on the EIDL.
Yep.
Now, are the uses for these funds where it gets dictated whether or not you're able to use it for investment purposes or anything other than running the business? Is that globally across for the monies of that loan, or is that only attributable to SBA forgiveness? Like, how do they decide, you know, like if, or that they care what you're utilizing those funds?
I think what they may do is if you get, you know, let's say $100,000 and you decide you're going to go buy a new console to expand your business, and they found out that you've used that money to do that they can then change the terms of the loan and make it due immediately, as opposed to giving you the 30 years and with the low percentage rate.
Interesting.
I'd like to point out that there's a cautionary thing on the EIDL, and I did get one. That says that you cannot sell assets without having prior approval. So if you end up having a console you're not using and you want to sell it off on eBay, in theory, you would have to ask the SBA's approval to sell any assets because they have a lien against your assets.
Right. Right. That's another great point. That's right. I read that yesterday.
But that's pretty much standard with any SBA loan.
Yeah.
Yeah. They want your firstborn, everything.
Yeah, the PPP was the nice, government handing out, the grant. These other things are feel much more like borrowing money. I mean, the PPP is technically borrowing money, but it didn't feel like it.
Yeah. Well, it was more forgivable.
Yeah.
Side note, Jamie, I'm very upset that you took down the Marine Corps flag as your background.
I'll put it back up, sir.
Thank you. I thought that was a nice tribute to your brother. All right, what other business things can you help out with? What are the nonsense is there? So Cosmo, did you get sorted out in the end?
Yeah, I got, can you hear me?
Yep.
Well, when I spoke to Claudette, she helped me, she told me what they went through, and I think they managed to get the SBA loan relatively quickly. So I just made a call, and they said that I still had to wait for the invitation from the SBA. Even though I had an account number, I still didn't have an account. So I made the call, and a few days later, I received an invitation. Actually, last Friday, I received an invitation. So I went and accepted the invitation and made an account. And then I got an email saying that I'd been approved for $88,000 of an SBA loan, which is like everybody said, 3.25% interest, 30-year, basically it's a mortgage. But it's there's no penalty for paying it off early. And that was that. So 2 months it took from when I first filed to when I got it. So, but as Marcel said earlier, it might just, if you're struggling, and like Rob says, every time I called, they would answer, but they couldn't tell me any information. But they did answer, and they were trying to be helpful. But I think my calling instigated them to look at my account. You know what I mean? Kind of like poking the bear, and so they took care of me. So it was great.
Good, congratulations.
Thanks.
That's awesome.
One, I think the biggest piece of information that we gave Cosmo was just be a pain in their ass. Really, it was just, you got to stay on top of them because they forget you quite quickly.
For me, it was just the waiting game, just being patient, just playing out the waiting game. And it finally, all of a sudden, I'd get a letter going, you're in the mix. We have your application. Great, here we go. And then a little bit later going, you've been approved. Great, here we go. Okay. Then you sign the paperwork, and then a few days later it was a little over 2 months for the whole process to go through. But people applying now, that window is going to be a lot shorter because there's a lot less companies that are coming after it.
Once I
the bottleneck is open.
Yeah, once I got approval, it was about a week and a half before the funds hit my account.
For us, the EIDL was easy. The PPP was a night. Like I think, we were definitely on the second round of the PPP, but we were also, I don't know, a couple weeks in, so it was getting pretty nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
But
speaking
you got it.
about being a squeaky wheel and getting focused, I'll wait for that car to pass. There is something I'd like to
Sorry.
ask of each of you. And last week I started a bit of a journey to try and generate a bit more awareness for our industry, based a lot on what Michael Strickland had given us a lot of information of the last few weeks. And one thing that seems to be very clear is that there's a lot of writing your local congressperson, trying to get some awareness that our industry needs attention and focus from the government. I have extreme concerns that not only have we done our job so well over the years, that we're the ghosts in the background that people don't realize. We're also too small and concentrated a community to make enough of noise and difference ourselves. And I think we really need to start trying to generate awareness from the general public. as to the situation that our industry is in and what we actually do for them as a service in being able to put on events and whatnot. One of the things I'm trying to do is put together a panel of people that I have suggested Mike Strickland be a part of, along with several others, to start getting on some other news outlets, such as podcasts and things like that, that have very large numbers of followers, to get the word out to the everyday people out there, really to the ticket buyers. I fear that they're going to start seeing things like Las Vegas opening, Disney and Universal opening, and all these basic things, and they're not truly going to understand that they're not going to go to a concert until the middle of 2021. And I think that a lot of the push for getting indemnification bills pushed through and things like that are really going to fall to the wayside. So I encourage all of you to start just
Patrick,
putting the word out to other people.
That point that you made was made by somebody a few weeks ago too, where someone said a very good point, which I didn't even think of, that these drive-in concerts and stuff are going to trick people into believing that we're okay and that our industry's just fine and that there's concerts going on. But a drive-in concert isn't really a concert, right?
No, so I really encourage you to start trying to get the word out to other people, to try and get them to make some noise. Have them go online and do the simple letter to write in the congressperson to try and push this. Because I do fear that this indemnification option that's going to be up for discussion on a future bill, not necessarily the next one, is really going to fall to the wayside for a very long time. And as Michael had mentioned, that it would be horse traded to some degree, which is going to go back and forth for months. And we also have to remember that we lose Congress for several weeks on July 2nd. So they're going away for a while. We're going to immediately, it's like trying to buy moving lights from the Italians. Come August, your order's not going through until October, right? So it is what it is. I think we're going to lose a lot of traction there, and every day that goes by is just a bit worse for us. So anything you can do to push the word out, I highly encourage it.
So I have a funny story about what you just said, Patrick. So when Gerard Cohen and his gang decided to buy Comar, Gerard being who he was like, what do you mean you're closing in August? You can't close. We have to ship more lights. And they're like, but we always close in August. And he said, no, you can't close in August. So he made them keep the factory open in August. But you couldn't get trucks. You couldn't get anything. I mean, you couldn't get supplies. You couldn't get
the rest of Italy said ciao.
The rest of Italy was still closed. So, it was, sorry about the car. I know how much you love them. I'm trying to get as far away as I can, but yeah, it was kind of interesting that you just said that, because I remember the one year we tried to actually keep it open and it didn't work out so well.
No, not in the least. And just like Congress, you're not getting out of it. They're taking it.
That is true.
So we're going to lose it for a while, and we're going to lose traction. So, if we have to lose them, no better way for their aides to come back after that than to be inundated with emails about the same topic, about live events, continuing identification. So
100%.
I highly encourage everybody to push that as hard as they can to all of your friends, your neighbors, scream it from the rooftops. I'm trying to get it screamed on very vocal platforms that have followers. So fingers crossed we'll come through.
Is there anybody on our call that is in Canada besides me?
I'm also in Canada.
So what are you hearing in terms of what's going on in Canada?
I'm in Halifax, over in Nova Scotia, and we only have 2 active cases, and the whole province is pretty much open, besides us and the government.
Interesting. I'm in Alberta, and I mean we're half open, I would say, but no events at all.
And you can't fly in from the U.S.
No, you can't fly in from the U.S.
Because I'm trying. God, I'm trying. And they just they just extended it to July 21st.
Yeah. I mean, you can come in if you have immediate family here and you want to come in to see family, you can get in, but you have to quarantine for 2 weeks when you get here. So it's kind of pointless if you're coming to visit somebody up here, you know, because you have to quarantine yourself anyway. So.
Yeah, I was told this morning by some of the IATSE guys that as long as you have a work permit, but then you can cross the border into Canada, but like you said, 14-day quarantine.
Yeah.
Now, does that work the other way around? Are you able to come into the U.S. from Canada on the same date earlier?
No, I don't think we have any, well, I'm not sure about that. Don't quote me, but because I was supposed to be in Vegas right now, but actually no flights, as far as I'm aware of, there's no flights going out right now to the U.S.
I read that you're allowed into the States if you have a work permit or you're working or you have one of those visas that lets you in the States or the family thing.
That you can come in.
The same rules apply both ways.
Yeah.
I just saw Blaze pop up. Can you maybe give us a little bit of an update from your standpoint on what's going on in the movie business? Because I know you're way up on that topic.
Sure thing. Yeah. Things are slowly opening up. What has happened is that the SAG-AFTRA, the DGA, and producers, along with IATSE and Teamsters, have gone ahead and released their guidelines. They're not final, but they're operating guidelines that people are acting on, and productions are starting to get back underway. There's still a timeline attached in that there's a lot of training that's required and obviously a lot of setup. But as of June 12th, LA said, okay, if you have a plan and production approves it, you guys are good as long as you're following the guidelines, the white paper that we saw. And that's quickly being adopted state to state. Atlanta, New Orleans is operating. New York is following the same guidelines. White paper was approved by the governor there as well. And so we're just barely starting to hear people say, hey, in about 2 weeks, we're supposed to be on set to start prepping or to start striking the old sets. And most of them are the earliest shows are looking at the middle of July to actually start principal photography and have talent on set.
Cool.
But let's just say that the offers aren't flying in yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there is that part.
From my standpoint, I have one offer for a movie in Atlanta. I'm not going to step foot in Georgia for quite a while, and that's not going to happen because I would have to leave my family for 5 months. And then over here, every time that there's a rumor of something going, then a few days later, well, they pushed it by a month. So there's a little iffy stuff going on right now. And I think one good positive thing that I just saw earlier this week was Universal committing $5 million on top of their original budget to continue shooting Jurassic World in the UK. Now, London is a little ahead of us, and but it was still pretty commendable that they threw $5 million for just one feature to have a medical department with doctors and nurses so that they can check in the crew in the morning properly. I think there's a couple of other problems that are surfacing right now. Like in the old days when we parked at a crew parking and we had to pile into 15 passenger vans to go to the location. Let's say a crew of 100 would require, I don't know, 4 or 5 15 passenger van, and they do rounders in the morning. Now all of a sudden you got to double that, which is not a big problem for Teamsters, but because you can't pack the van with 15 people. Now, how long is that going to take to get everybody to set? There's so many questions about how they're going to make their days, which is the old way of the studio says to a production, okay, you're green lit, you've got 90 days to shoot this show. Well, now these production companies are going, we're not going to make it. We need more weeks. We're not even talking about more days. We need more weeks.
Well, then the other thing I saw, Benoit, the other thing I saw on Blace's talk yesterday, which I watched for a little bit, and I don't remember the woman's name, Blaze, but she was talking about the budget that it adds, you know, just for PPE and testing and all the things. You know, she was talking on a small shoot, I think, of a couple $1 million.
Yeah, well, you see that Jurassic World is throwing $5 million. Universal is paying. They
Yeah, that's just the COVID overhead, right?
Yeah, that's exactly. That's
And
to have the whole medical department that's separate from the position of a set medic, because they still think that the set medic should do his work, his or her work. But then it's PPE, it's testing, and that's the other thing too, is that if they're going to test actors 3 to 4 times a week, and they're going to test the crew once before the production starts, and based on temperature checks, then they're going to need more testing when they go, oh my God, you've got 103 fever. I think that there's a lack of testing out there as well. And it's an interesting beast. And then of course we say this every week, the insurance. Our unions have said, if you see paperwork in your start packet that wants you to sign your life away, there's no laws for that yet. So why should you sign your life away when it's not going to hold up in court? And then
I don't think there's such thing as a packet that doesn't include that.
Yeah, well, we've been forewarned by our union not to report to them what we see, because they're going to try every trick in the book.
Right, but also with a collective bargaining agreement, even if you did sign it, Benoit, then you don't have a right to, on behalf of the union would step all over it. So it's null and void. Right.
So there's still so many hurdles. It'll be interesting to see how things are shaping up in other places. London will be a good barometer to see if Jurassic World does restart. And then you got other productions. I just saw the other day, SAG-AFTRA just told their entire membership that they are not allowed to take a job on a specific movie with Scott Baio and some other actress, because they are just not following any protocols, or they're just trying to do it willy-nilly. So there's going to be a couple of productions that are going to go, we're ready, and we're not. And then it's going to stop. It's going to be cut down one way or another.
To your point,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, to your point, Marcel, that was Rachel Olshan, and she's executive producer for Leverage 2.0, shooting down in New Orleans, and they are already underway. Not with principal photography, but they are starting prepping virtually, but they're already rolling forward with the plans to get onto set, and they've been approved by everyone except the Teamsters with their production plan, and they do really practically address a lot of the questions, to the extent that she took a lot of questions in my IATSE meeting last Thursday morning, and pretty much answered everybody's questions to the satisfaction of all the IATSE guys that were there, with very practical solutions. And the most practical one that you alluded to is, they just said, this is gonna cost a shit ton of money, and we're ready to spend it because there's no other way to go forward, and we wouldn't consider any other way. So there really are some practical, actionable plans that are going forward. That I was actually on a call this morning with a couple of crews in British Columbia and around Vancouver that are also there they're on sets, striking and moving equipment, and they're the exceptions, but they're back to work, and their crews are there, and they also related a lot of practical things they were doing that were working, and a lot of questions still, because they're still figuring it out, but
right.
It's starting to happen.
Yeah, it is starting.
It's a big deal, because I mean, other than, you know, concerts and live events and all that stuff, obviously movies was another area that, you know, everybody's looking to see recover here soon. So, and you know, I still don't know if there's any truth to the thing that I mentioned last week, or somebody mentioned, I don't know, maybe it wasn't me, but you know, just the rumor that Live Nation is starting to book events into their amphitheaters for the summer. Anybody heard anything about that?
No. I
Not-
haven't heard any updates from them.
Great.
Sadly.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were alluding to, but there was a document for LA County that was released, and it talked about music, music producers being able to go back to work. Obviously, it wasn't a large event, but
Right.
I'm happy to pass that on if anybody has any more insights into how that's actually being applied anywhere.
That had more to do with composing, wasn't it?
I think it was also about music videos, to shoot music videos.
Okay, well, that doesn't help anybody outside of film and production anyway, so
No.
makes sense.
No.
Sorry.
No, it's no problem. It's an interesting navigation to go through all this learning as we go here, you know, because there's going to be some trial and error, and then we'll see what happens.
Guys, to the New York crew, I just got an update email. It's the local event. The 2020 U.S. Open is going to take place with no fans. If you are not a fan of tennis, they have really over the last few years stepped up their production with A-lister artists who will perform. So it looks like they're going to do full broadcast, but that's a global event, and so that's some good news.
Nice.
And Marcel, it'd be really cool if your son played tennis. It'd be way less loud. It'd be really cool. Get him a fucking tennis racket.
It would be way more annoying. Way more annoying. Way more.
Sorry.
Way more annoying.
I'm sorry. Well, I got to tell you that next week I'm actually at Road Atlanta at the racetrack where we're actually racing next week. But I don't. We won't be on track, so I think I'll be fine. There won't be any noise.
Does he still have his sponsorship? I mean, who's his sponsors these days?
Ayrton.
Ayrton still? Cool.
Yeah, Ayrton. No, they've been amazing. We're very appreciative. But, you know, mostly my companies, this one, and my LED company, and pretty much, why are you offering?
No.
When did they name the light after him?
No.
When he wins. Yeah. When he wins. Actually, that's a good deal. That's a good idea. We'll call it the Ayrton Jeremy. Ayrton 87. Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, we're very appreciative because it's an expensive sport. So anytime somebody steps up and says, yeah, we'd like to have our name on his car. So he's going to, right now they're just black. Oh, for God's sake. Friggin' German cars. So, anyways. So, Patrick, how are you?
I'm good. I'm drinking mezcal and not some bullshit little soda can beer. I'm sorry, I can't let that one go. That was too good. No, I'm doing quite well. Thank you very much. We have a gig this week, which is great. We're working on all the pivots, which is having 3 full-time jobs. I'm really kind of over it. I can't wait for this whole thing to end so we can go back to doing the stupid shit we actually know what to do.
Yeah. Are we going to remember? Are we going to remember how to
say that? So
power up a console?
I popped into the prep over at PRG today and realized that all of the skills that I had been working on in Vectorworks, knock stuff out, did not hold up because I forgot to check Vectorworks service packs. And of course, there are new bugs. So under normal circumstances, we'd be ready for this. We realized all the paperwork's fucked up because Vectorworks has a new bug in it that none of us really thought to look for. So yeah, some of the skills are dwindling, aren't they?
Thanks for the swag shipment, Patrick, by the way.
Oh, you're welcome. It looks fucking good.
It does look good.
I gotta say, we've been testing the masks out and having that vent on it is totally helpful, as well as all the heat out here in Vegas, because it's really, really uncomfortable wearing masks when it's over 100 degrees, and that definitely makes a difference.
Hey, Patrick, send me one, and next week I'll completely change my opinion on everything.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
I'll behave very nicely, and I'll just say it's great to wear a mask as long as it's an activity mask.
I'll send you a pack of 12 with another 12 pack of White Claw blueberry.
Marcel, you're a sellout. You're a sellout. You for a free mask and you.
Hey, Greg. Hey, Greg. Greg, I hate you, by the way. I hate you, by the way. I'm calling you as soon as this call's over. Okay. And I'm going to talk to you.
He's not going to buy another Samsung TV as long as he lives.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll make a huge difference to Greg.
Eric Loda, how are you guys doing?
Don't ask.
All right, sweet. Thanks for popping in.
Eric's had better weeks.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Hang on a sec. I'm going to get another foo-foo beer over here.
What else? Does anybody else need help with anything? And in earnest, seriously, we've been really good. Like, what are we on? Week 13 now?
I need help with mean people.
Yeah, well, get in line.
Geez, I feel like I need to see a therapist tonight on my way home from the racetrack.
Oh, sit the fuck down, Snowflake. Seriously.
Marsha, what the hell are you doing back? Keep doing this.
Back?
When you leave, you gotta
left.
stay out. Oh, I thought you left. You said bye, everyone.
It's true, you moron. There's a lot of people here. Get with it.
I can't see. I only see you.
I know this is your first call.
Hey, Marcel, Patrick will hook you up with that armor.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks.
Excellent chainmail.
I want to say, not that I have a fucking right to be saying this, but thank you to everybody for helping everybody else throughout all of this. This has been a very long 13 weeks. This has been ridiculous navigation of all sorts of business shit that most people are not used to in business. And do not stop, please. I was helping some yesterday. People still need help. So whatever we can do to support each other is huge. And I think that I know that we're all involved in other calls outside of this one, but I have to say, out of all the ones that I've been involved with, this has been one of the most educational in terms of business navigation. And it has significantly helped me help others on these other calls with a lot of people that aren't involved in this one.
Well, and I also got to be honest, I like the people on this call more than most of the other calls I'm on, most weeks anyways. This week I don't like any of you very much, but most weeks I really like all of you.
That fucking shit you're drinking. It affects your brain. Oh my God.
Oh boy.
No, but you're right, Patrick. I mean, this is tough stuff, and it's great every week to, I think some weeks everybody's really up. The next week everybody's really down, and we kind of go, okay, let's talk about some stuff. And, this week, obviously, there's some things that we needed to work out. But I think, next week is going to be another problem because I think everybody's PPP money is running out right now, the companies who took it. And I think we're going to see some more layoffs over the next couple of weeks. I really do. So, unfortunately, in our industry and in every industry, we're going to see a lot of layoffs because PPP money is running out now.
Yeah.
It's starting to happen up here.
That
already.
And companies closing. Companies closing too. We're going to see that next. Because
Can anybody speak to Christie Lights closing a bunch of shops down? Is that public knowledge yet?
Well, it is now. Thanks for opening your fat mouth.
Who's that, Dearson?
Yes.
Is McMean still here? I don't know that he could say anything, but
no,
is Chris still here? He's gone.
No, I think he's gone.
I've heard of a couple of smaller shops, and I've heard of a couple smaller shops taking all their gear, putting it into storage containers or trucks and parking it outside the city and closing up their shop for now because they can't afford the rent.
Wow. Yeah.
I gotta say, it's probably a very wise maneuver. You know, we can sit here and lament that all you want. The shit's not going anywhere. So you're just housing it and you're paying someone else to house it. If you got trailers, or you can get trailers cheaper than your rent, fucking do it. There's no shame in it. And believe me, there will be a space available ready for you when you come back. There's gonna be no escaping.
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna be there when you need it.
That's one business almost as bad as ours is commercial real estate right now.
Yeah. So if you're in a position now where you're looking at the next 8 weeks, next 16 weeks, 24, and you're looking at a projection, you may want to just fucking get ahead of it and say, screw it. You can always, do the labor to pull shit out of these trucks if you need it. But if you can pack stuff and store it somewhere cheaper, just do it. There's no reason not to. It's just good business at this point. We are going to be hosed for a very long time. And start thinking now about all the little things you can do to prolong this. That's going to make the difference as to whether you come out of this or not.
Yeah.
And I think that our next few calls are going to be dealing with a lot of harsh realities in that regard. And we need to desperately stay positive in what is just a desperately negative situation. It's going to really suck.
Yeah.
These calls are going to get increasingly more negative. So it's all the reason we got to dig deep, really help each other and keep some positivity going. And if that positivity means facing the inevitable negative sooner in hopes of a positive outcome, then it's time to do that. Let's just start being small.
So is one of
business people start finding
is one of your pivots like you've taken on a Tony Robbins franchise or something? You sound like a motivational speaker today.
So if you need trailers for your shit, let's get you in there.
Yeah, there you go. Patrick's T-shirts and trailers.
Yeah.
And automatic weapons.
Automatic weapons.
And motivational speaking.
Nothing to motivate you quite like the firearms industry right now.
True that. You suddenly seem completely reasonable having, an arsenal of weapons.
That's right.
Who would have thought?
Yeah. I'm somewhat envious of you, to be honest.
In terms of the firearms industry, it's very interesting. Our local shop that I do a lot of work with, for April, they had closed up their books for April. This is a local one-shop place in Las Vegas. There are 100 gun stores in Las Vegas, if not more. They did $1.2 million in credit card sales alone.
Yeah, nice.
The month of April and May topped that in firearm sales in the United States. So I know that a year ago, we're bitching and moaning about all the firearms and the shootings and all the nonsense, and no one's spoken about that for a very long time. Let me tell you, that's going to come up very quickly because sales of that stuff has been off the charts and hasn't really been reported in the media. It's really wild. It's a great time to get into that business if you're looking for a pivot.
Yep. It's hard to find ammo around here.
Yeah.
I was in there the other day just to talk to the guys about some other business stuff, and everything was bare. I think they had on the walls, they had about 6 or 8 rifles on the walls. It's usually stocked with 45. And all the shelves were bare. They couldn't get enough ammunition made to put on the shelves. It was wild. I've never seen anything like it.
Patrick, did you hear that they just banned 1,500 different types of assault weapons in Canada?
No, I didn't, but it doesn't surprise me. I'm sure it's,
Well, the funny thing is they banned it because one guy decided to go on a rampage, and it was the deadliest rampage in the country's history, and they think that banning all the legal gun owners is going to help stop the people who obtain them illegally.
So to be clear,
not so sensible, right?
Oh, here we go. Where's all those guys? Where's Rob and all those guys?
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, Patrick. Let's go.
We go down another rabbit hole of divisiveness.
Let's go, buddy.
Yeah,
I'm not sparking an argument. I'm just saying.
But then, then again, there's
Patrick waits until all the heavy artillery's gone, and then he starts talking about guns.
He's a tactic, friend. That's how it works.
He's busting me on masks, and he's talking about automatic weapons.
To Anthony's point, Australia did it many, many years ago with great success too. It's definitely. I don't want to get into the whole politics.
Why not? Why not? Why not? Why not, Patrick?
Because even as a staunch liberal, I don't really, whatever Patrick's doing, I know plenty of liberals who own guns. I don't care if you're I don't care if you're conservative or a liberal, Republican, Democrat. I care if you're an asshole. That's really the scope of all of this. If you're just an asshole,
pretty much
you're an
exactly
asshole.
my view. That's exactly my view.
It's not that hard. I mean, I know
there's
plenty
good
of
and
liberals.
bad.
I'm from
Those
the
are the only
South.
two sides.
I'm from
Good
the
and
South. I know
bad.
plenty of liberal gun owners. It doesn't bother me. Patrick's passion is gun owning and shooting, and God bless you, man. You know what? If there's anybody that I want to own a gun, it's somebody like Patrick, because he's responsible with it. He's passionate about it. He gets trained for it. He knows exactly what he's doing with it.
Rob,
it's the jackass that goes to buy one at a pawn store that I.
Rob, I saw him shooting out of a helicopter. I'm not sure how responsible Patrick is. You give him too much credit,
accuracy,
Rob.
my friend.
You give him too much credit. He was shooting out of a helicopter.
But that's a thing in Vegas.
Hey, you got to. We charge for that here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's funny.
Top dollar.
That's funny.
And I think
you need to get some stress out. That's the way to go.
I think I saw an ad that they reopened.
Yeah, they're up and running.
Oh.
Country helicopter.
That place is amazing.
That's crazy.
Hoping to pay them a visit soon.
Patrick, I'll be out there 4th of July, so maybe we can do a little
Work
field
something
trip.
out.
We'll fly me to the moon.
As soon as the borders open, I'm gonna come to Vegas, so I'll come say hi.
Come on down.
Yeah, I just want to say, Anthony, your visualizations you've been working on have been really good. So congrats on all your hard work there after hours.
Thanks, Eric.
Everybody doing okay health-wise? COVID-wise?
Yep.
I've been looking at
Curiosity, and I ask this in all earnest. Does anybody know anybody that has recently contracted it? You do, okay.
One of our staff members.
We'll wait for parts to go.
One of our staff members who has been working from home contracted it from his wife, it seems. So.
Oh, that's a shame.
She had been going to work. So.
Okay.
My son-in-law is a police officer in Phoenix, and he tested positive last week, but my daughter hasn't tested positive. So.
Wow.
I talked to two people today. I talked to a husband and wife today who took the antibody test and tested positive, and they don't even know when they were sick. Like they're going, well, I kind of had a cold in December. Maybe that was it. I don't know. You know, I mean.
Same with my wife and I. We got tested last week, negative on COVID, but we both tested positive antibodies. We think when my daughter got married in Mexico, we went down there like March 10th. So it was right.
Wow.
The following weekend, we would have had to cancel the wedding. But
that's
when
crazy.
We went back, my wife was in bed for a day or two, after being back home a couple of days. So we may have got it on the way down. I don't know. There were some people from Washington at the wedding. But
yeah.
I never really felt sick. But
so
I have antibodies.
I got a weird statistic. So I know a lot of people, and I'm from Canada. I only know 3 people who have actually had it, other than the 2 people I talked to yesterday, who aren't really friends of mine, but I just met them. But I have 3 friends who have had COVID, and they're all in Canada. So one of them is in tiny little town where I have my house in Canada near Banff. And the other 2, the other 2 are in Edmonton. So I know 3 people who have had COVID, and they were all in Western Canada. And I'm sure there's a lot of New Yorkers still left on this call who, probably know hundreds of people who've had it, but It's a good question, Patrick, because, you know, as big as this has been, a lot of people don't know anyone who's had it.
Yeah, that's kind of why I asked. Bob Williams, you said you knew somebody as well?
Well, funny you should say that. I've been looking at this whole thing as kind of a 6 degrees of separation. And then I suddenly jumped to the first degree for me on Monday when my son was diagnosed with it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
For me, he lives in the house here. And so I got tested on Monday with him. He ended up going to the ER because he had high heart rate, some problems, but he's fine. He's feeling fine. I get my test results back tomorrow, but we've been trying to figure out where he got it from. And the only thing we can think of is from a gas station or a convenience store that he stopped at to get gas going to work. Because we've all maintained our social distancing. We've got a very small circle we hang out with. My shop is closed at the moment. My partner and I are separated so he can work, and if one of us gets sick. So we've been staying responsible about it. Still, it hit us just like that.
You know, Bob, one of the things that I did read about a month ago is that there was kind of a string of people that had been doing the same thing that your son was and maintaining and being very careful about everything. And there was one common factor was gas station pumps.
Yeah.
Even though it can't live on a surface very long, it does live on a surface for a certain amount of time. So if you're going somewhere busy, like a Costco that has constant cars going through there, it's very easy to do that. You get in the car, you wipe your brow, you're off and running.
Yeah.
And boom, you've got it. So
I'll tell you, that's the
possible.
one place that I still wear gloves. Is gas station pumps. I have a box of gloves in the center console in my truck, and I always put on a pair of gloves when I'm pumping gas. I did it today.
Same thing with ATMs, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bob, I have a question. How did you know that it wasn't from his work?
There's only 4 people in the crew. My son, the only job he could find for the summer was installing above ground swimming pool. So he's working with a crew of 4 people. And it is possible it is them. Other than that, he has come and done a couple of small jobs with me. I don't think, those were too late. They told him that as Monday when we took him, they said he was contagious probably from Saturday on, 3 days before, and that he probably got it a week and a half before that. So just by going, the only places he had been to is these job sites with these 4 people to install them.
But he's fine, Bob?
Pardon?
He's fine?
Yeah, he's fine.
Okay?
He had some congestion, some tightness in his chest, and headache and sore throat for about a day and a half. But for the last day or so, he's been okay.
Yeah.
I've had a little bit of congestion in my chest, but I've had no real symptoms. We just got back. I took my wife to the clinic to get her tested a few minutes ago. And so we're just going to sit back and wait and see what happens. And we're starting to get busy. We're starting to see signs of life. And now I'm stuck at home for, 2.5 weeks.
Well, we'll see you next week, and you can give us an update on this situation, obviously.
How it goes,
yeah.
But yeah, I'm taking it all in stride. It's I don't smoke, and I'm pretty healthy, so I think everything will be fine. So
good.
And your son's all right now?
My son is all right. He's 20 years old. He's about 6'3", and he's a drummer, and he's pretty healthy, and he's doing fine.
He was a drummer, so he was handicapped to begin with, but he's all right now.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you said he was a musician.
He lives in our basement, so.
All
drummers live in basements.
Yeah.
Wait, you said I thought he delivered pizzas. Pizza delivery?
Yeah, he does that.
That's a good one. That's a good one, Marion.
I'm so sorry.
I use him when I need to make sure.
I just jumped right on the bandwagon. I'm really sorry.
I use him when I need to make sure the stage is level. That we have the drill's coming out both sides. I know that it's level. But...
Good one.
All right. But everybody else doing good? Everybody else healthy?
Yeah, man.
Well, good.
Except for the race car thing.
Yeah.
It's a little noisy every minute and 20 seconds as a car comes around.
A little ringing in your ears.
This one's nice. It's a Porsche. Listen, a GT3.
Marcel, has your
That thing sounds badass.
Racing during this call?
Driving, not racing. He's
Okay, he's
just doing some testing for the race next week.
Oh man, that you're dedicated then, because I'd be watching my son.
I am. I watch him and, you know, get beat up a little bit, and then I watch him and then I get beat up a little bit. You know, it's good.
If you didn't see, I sent a note saying we all love you, Marcel.
Yeah, well, the feeling isn't mutual today, Greg.
Boy.
I loved you yesterday.
Check your privilege, Marcel. Go back to your white claw.
I must have missed a
Jesus,
lot.
Patrick.
I must have missed a lot on the first half.
Well, let's put it this way, Eric. I'm not putting the YouTube video up this week. Last thing I need is evidence of this beat down I took today. Some of it maybe I deserved, though.
Was it politics? Was it politics or was it?
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much.
It was cotton and polyester, and it went south.
But we don't want to talk about that.
You handled it well, Marcel. I came in right in the middle of it. It was like a shit show.
Yeah. It was a beatdown.
like,
It was a nasty beatdown.
Masks,
Yeah.
masks. Yeah. I took a side immediately, but I did not say a word.
Yeah. Eric, now you're pretty much up to date.
There you go.
There you go.
Marion just pretty much filled you in there.
Yeah.
So, folks, I am going to go now. And it's been a slice. Next week, unfortunately, I'm going to be at a racetrack again, but it's going to be quiet, I promise.
Why?
You think you're going to be in Ohio?
I think it's awesome.
What?
I have no problem with race cars.
Hey, Marcel,
Yeah.
can we talk about religion next week?
That's what I thought. You know, religion. I mean, we covered guns and nobody jumped on Patrick except me somehow.
Because he has a gun.
I stopped jumping Patrick a long time ago. All right?
Yeah.
That's because Patrick's a responsible gun owner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or say apparently.
Because he has 17 of them within arm's reach right now. That's why.
Yeah. And he shoots out of helicopters.
All right, guys.
Now he's got another
Thanks,
one.
Marcel. I got to head down to the protest. See you guys next week.